Kill me! I'm here! Kill me!
Hey everybody, this is Matthew Movies coming at you with my review of Rings, the 2017 horror movie that's the sequel to The Ring and The Ring 2. And just to give you a bit of a preamble, I love The Ring. I think that movie is amazing. It was extremely scary and one of the best horror movies in the last few decades, along with The Grudge and The Conjuring to me and a few others. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. The visuals I thought were amazing when they actually showed the video. There's a moment with the ladder that falling that I thought was just looked awesome. The acting was good, the writing was good. The Ring 2 I did not care for whatsoever. I thought it was pretty bad and played on a lot of the tropes of the first one, but didn't get what made the first one so scary. They were just like, ooh, look at this random creepy thing that's happening. That's going to be just as creepy as in the first one when it was set up intelligently and had compelling characters, right? No, it didn't. And so I was really hoping that Rings would be a return to form and get me back to how much I loved the first one, or at the very least improve on the second one. And I gotta say, it was so thoroughly mediocre in my view. There was nothing about it that stood out. It was just very bland. There was a lot of the same issues that I had with The Ring 2. One of the major problems that I thought happened with The Ring. Okay, so the end of the first one, I'm not gonna reveal any spoilers for any of the three movies to the best of my ability. But I'm just gonna touch on this from the first two movies. And again, it's not gonna be a spoiler, so you can if you're worried about that kind of thing, just keep watching. So the end of the whole story, every horror fan will probably know, where you have to watch. If you watch this video, you're gonna get called as soon as it's over and be told 7 days, and that's how long you have to live. Well, so the first movie came out, and like pretty much all horror movies, you can assume that there is a character that survives, right? So the way the character survives, I'm not gonna explain how that happens, but I will explain that it was set up at the end of that movie to be like, okay, well, if you do this, this is how you get out of it. The problem was then The Ring 2 came out, and all of a sudden they brought back the same cast as the first one, the surviving cast, and all of a sudden they were being haunted by the Samara again, with no really good satisfactory explanation given, other than the fact that she was just hunting them. And so basically it undid the concept of how to save yourself, right? So then this movie comes out, and the whole first 45 minutes or so is all about how they saved themselves in the first one. Because again, of course, there are people who watched the video and they are using the same trick that was at the end of the first one to stay alive. And it's like, well, what? The Ring 2 undid that. You can't just pretend like that didn't happen, unless, like, you know, if the filmmakers had come out and said that, you know, we didn't care for The Ring 2 and we're just gonna kind of branch off from The Ring and pretend like that all that crap in the second one never happened, that'd be one thing. But I've not seen or read anything that points to that. I've seen this movie, the movie's called Rings, but I've also seen it referred to as The Ring 3, so you can't just pretend like that stuff didn't happen. So the entire time when I'm watching all these people trying to use the same trick, I'm just like, well, it's already been proven not to work, so why is this good? And yet in this movie, of course, it's shown to work just like it did in the first one. Like none of that stuff in the second one happened. They also try to modernize it, so instead of it being a tape, it's all you know, videos on the computer, which kind of, again, you know, it didn't sit well with me. I mean, I understand why they did that, because obviously people don't really use VHSs anymore, but first off, VHSs, from what I understand, are making a bit of a comeback. Like, I see people who are going out and buying them all the time these days, and you know, they're just collectors. They're not like the everyday person. They're never going to be as big as they were when the first movie came out, but there are some people who are doing that, so you could play on that it's, you know, these collectors that are kind of getting into it, and it would also make sense that these collectors would be the ones getting the old ring tape because you know, they heard this myth, this urban legend kind of thing. But, you know, I'm not here to kind of rewrite their movie for them, but there's something more tangible when it was like a VHS, when it's just like a video file. It's just not. It just doesn't feel quite the same. But whatever. That's a minor detail. The problem is that there's not for me with this movie. There wasn't a moment in it that I felt creeped out or scared or anything. They do use the same old tricks. They have the visuals are the same of what it's like to be killed by Samara. So when they showed that, like when you saw it for the first time in The Ring, and even when I go back and watch that movie, it's jarring because you don't expect it to be as grisly as it is. But when they do it in this, it's just kind of like, oh yeah, oh man, they did that again. The movie opens up with a scene that is really, really cheesy in my view, and just makes no sense. Again, like there's a lot across the board. There are characters doing things in this movie that don't make any sense. Like there is a character that knows full well of the danger of the ring, saw what the results, how horrible the death is, and how inevitable it is once you open yourself to it, and then willingly watches the tape. And they write it off as that she was sacrificing herself to save the person she cares about. But come on, you know, like it's just crap. Like there's no, and the problem is too is like literally the scene before, there's somebody a complete stranger who shows up who could have watched the tape, and she kind of like is against that idea, but then she goes and watches it herself. It's like, come on, like that's just crap. Like I understand the whole idea of like sacrificing yourself for somebody you love, and you know, like if it was like her kid or something like that, like if it was my wife or if it was my daughter, I could see you know, making that decision and then trying to give myself the extra time kind of deal. But you know, it's just like her college sweetheart who's they've become like a long distance couple. It's garbage. She wouldn't have done that. And then there's this whole, they add to the mythos of this whole other thing with other characters, and all of a sudden there's extra parts in the and it's just, none of it's interesting. It all just feels like they're just adding minutia to fill up time and to show new shocking revelations that who cares. And the other thing too is the problem with this movie is, in the first one, again, I'm gonna go out of my way to not spoil anything for anybody, but in the first one, a lot of the movie is trying to get into the origins so that they can try to figure out why this is happening and put an end to it. And so you have a lot of the movie that is kind of looking at the Samara as a you know, tragic figure and somebody to kind of pity. Well, the problem is, at this point, we've seen her, you know, track down the woman from the first one that she liked and try to get her, and we've seen her kill people like left, right, and center in like really grisly ways. Yet this movie yet again gets down and dirty into the like trying to get into her headspace and why this is happening, and it's like, I don't care. Like you know, you don't see when you like in the Nightmare on Elm Street series, right? Like they'll show stuff in the later films that are kind of giving you more of an idea of who Freddy Krueger is, but it's not like in a perspective of like where you're supposed to be like, oh, I feel for him or whatever. It's like, oh, well, that's how that ended up coming to be. That's kind of interesting. But this movie tries to make her the victim through of a lot of this throughout, and again, and it's like, oh, come on. And like some of the people that are involved in this, like Johnny Galecki's in it, and you know, he's one of the biggest stars on TV. Say what you will about The Big Bang Theory, you'd think he would be able to get a role in a movie that's gonna be better than this one. And Vincent D'Onofrio is in this, and man, Vincent D'Onofrio is like one of the best actors around and has been for years. And the fact that he got roped into this garbage is just disheartening in my view. Overall, I just really wasn't a fan of this movie. And those are basically my thoughts. If you saw the movie, let me know what you think in the comments below. If you're a big fan of it, let me know what you think. If you liked The Ring and The Ring 2, I'd love to hear about your thoughts on them as well. Obviously, as always, try to leave out any spoilers, because I want people to be able to come to my channel and find out about movies without having moments ruined for them. Other than that, hit that like button. It does awesome things for my channel. It gets it in front of people that otherwise wouldn't be able to see it. And please hit subscribe. I love talking to you guys about movies, and if you're new to the channel, that means the world to me. And hit that notification button so you know when my new videos come out. I mean, I know I'm asking a lot. There's the 4 separate things: the commenting, liking, subscribing, and notificating. Yeah, that's right. I made up a word, notificating. But but you know, I would love it if you did 1, 2, 3, or 4 of, or you know, even if you did none and you just watched this video, I appreciate it. Other than that, have yourself a nice day.